I'm gonna get an anime before I turn 30. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Brandon Chen. I'm an author of novels, manga, webtoons, and video games. And my goal is to get an anime adaptation of one of my stories before I turn 30 years old. Right now, I'm 25. I'm turning 26 in May. That's kind of crazy to think about. And my author career actually started when I turned 17. I published my first novel, actually, on Amazon for paperback and ebook. And now I have over 10 serialized anime-style series that are all ongoing, and they're happening with major publishers such as Webtoon, and that number should actually increase by the end of this year. So I'm actually going to be telling you my plan to take one of my original stories to an anime by the time I turn 30. Now I don't think it's going to get released, when I turn 30. That would be kind of crazy because honestly, even if I were to get it greenlit, my story greenlit tomorrow, it might not get released when I turn 30 just because of how long production usually is. It takes a long time to write, to obviously get the actual animation production happening. The timeline to get funding, the timeline to get greenlit, all of that just takes so long, and it's really unpredictable. So it's a pain in the butt. My goal is to just get something greenlit and authorized by the time I turn 30. That, in my opinion, is a lot more doable. Now first, why did I choose the age 30? The reason I did that is because a lot of parents, particularly like Asian parents, are always saying that you have to get married before you turn 30. You have to have kids before you turn 30. You have to have your career together before you turn 30. 30 is like this magical age where people think that you got to have stuff figured out, right? You have to have your life together and be an adult by the time you're 30. So screw all of that. I'm gonna have an anime before I turn 30. That's my thing. And that's actually literally the reasoning behind why I chose that age, 30. It's coming up and I got a lot to do. So how am I going to do it? So let's talk a little bit about anime. How does it even happen to begin with? There's original anime, which are anime that are created straight for animation without any sort of source material. These are projects like Kotetsujo no Konabiri, which is a anime series. There's also Bubble, which is a anime movie. And these projects are typically riskier. And usually to produce something like that, you usually have to have either film or anime connections, and you have to have created an anime before. So having like a strong background in that field is like the only way usually you'll get the funding or authorization to be able to take such a big risk with original anime. Or you fundraise. Some people are fundraising as well, but that's not the traditional path, right? I'd be pretty surprised if a creator of an intellectual property debuted with a project that goes straight to anime. Doesn't happen super often. It's not impossible, but I don't think that's the best path for me. It doesn't seem like the most risk averse path if I want to get the anime before 30. You're probably wondering, hey Brandon, why are originals riskier? Why are they riskier? Well, for originals, there's no proven fan base behind the intellectual property. So if there's no fan base, then this anime is actually the first time you're getting real feedback on a concept, on the characters, on the writing, on the art. And so when you're launching the anime, which is already a huge investment of time, money, resources, it's hard to justify that massive investment without knowing that you're going to get some kind of return on it, right? And that's actually how a lot of the entertainment industry thinks nowadays. This is why you see all these reboots or sequels going on, because intellectual property like the Marvel Cinematic Universe or Star Wars, the fact that they're doing spin-offs of popular IP such as Toy Story, or even sequels of IP that we all thought ended already, just so they can juice the IP for additional revenue, is because creating high investment productions for existing intellectual property is very low risk. So originals are one way to get an anime. What's the other way? The other way is an adaptation. Most anime are actually created from adaptations of manga or light novels. But why are adaptations so common? Well, creating an anime, knowing there's already a successful audience behind it, as well as key metrics behind the intellectual property, make it an easier sell for investors to want to get behind supporting a project to get actually fund it and get it made, right? Going the other way around, having an anime of a series really helps to sell the manga and light novel, and also other products as well, such as merch, paperbacks, that type of stuff. So this is the path that I'm looking to go down myself, because one, I've never created an anime before, so it's unlikely that I'm going to be able to create my own original straight out the gate. Two, it's actually easier for me to get an anime if I already have a successful series. So right now, like I said at the beginning of the video, I have a bunch of series that are serializing right now. It costs a lot less of an investment to create a webtoon or create a manga, especially when compared to an anime. And a few of the series I've done have good traction and fan bases. The thing is, it takes a lot of chapters of manga and webtoons to get enough content that can be sold for an anime, and also it takes a long time for that fan base to ramp up, right? And this is all assuming that a series even survives that long, because most series, a lot of them are going to get axed or canceled before they ever reach, their full potential. And this happens very often, where a publisher will cancel a series very early on before it reaches the amount of content they would need to ever make an anime adaptation possible. So let's say that I bypass all of this. My series survives the publisher acts, and I have crazy metrics for one of my series. Let's say it's God Game, which is my most popular series right now. Even with those crazy metrics, I need to get the attention of a producer in the anime space that can make all of this happen. So step one to getting an anime, create an awesome manga or webtoon series. Something that people love, something that has great numbers, something that hasn't gotten canceled by a publisher, something that's just successful objectively, right? That's the first step to getting an anime. The second step is to get noticed by a producer. Why am I making all these YouTube videos, these TikToks, when I should be writing? I should be just spending my whole day behind my laptop and just writing all day, right? That's what the mangaka do in Japan. They grind all day, they grind all night. Why am I not doing that? Why am I behind the camera making videos? That's because I'm marketing my work to readers. Like most of you guys, most of the people here are either readers or people who are interested in the industry that want to become writers, and then also read a lot, because you have to read in order to write, right? But also, I'm hoping that some industry professionals or executives are randomly stumbling across my videos at some point in time, and that inherently just increases my chances of getting an anime. It just does, because there might be one of them might be a producer, and they might be like, Brandon, wow, God Game's fantastic, great numbers, great everything. Boom. Like, the stars aligned. Your anime is coming. This is all hopeful. It's not guaranteed. It's all part of luck. But by putting myself and my work out there, I'm maximizing my luck and my chances to potentially get noticed. That's all that is. Now, there's also a scenario where, I'm not operating through a producer. I'm working with a publisher that has a studio. So for example, Webtoon has Wattpad Webtoon Studios, which is a studio that adapts original IP on their platform to, film and TV and animation, etc. So aside from the producer side, there's also a possibility that there's like an agent that I'm working with of some sort that can also sell my project for me to get the anime. Okay, so we accomplished step one, we accomplished step two. Somehow a producer has found us in our fantastic series. What's next? How do we get this made? Step three, make sure that I'm comfortable with the proposed anime deal. There's deals out there. I'm looking primarily at the Japanese manga industry, where I'm sure the creators are not involved at all in, who's making the anime deal, all that stuff, the deals, what's going into the deal, etc. Creatively, what's happening there. I want to be somewhat involved. I would like to be a consultant on the project. I would like to be involved in some way, because I'm really passionate about all the stories I do. And I'm also passionate about anime, right? Like, I would love to be involved. So sure, I can get an anime deal, but usually there's an animatic or some kind of sample team or, animation that we can look at to understand, like, hey, what is the sample of what this might look like? And if it's terrible, then it's not worth taking a bad anime deal just for the sake of taking a bad anime deal, in my opinion, personal opinion. Some people might say otherwise, because, you boost sales, you boost all this stuff. The passion inside me is like, yo, I don't want a bad anime if it's my first one. I just don't want a bad anime. Maybe you'll get attention on the intellectual property, so the webtoon sales, the manga sales will go up, and the merch sales will go up, and maybe I'll make a bag off that stuff. But it's really going to tarnish the brand if you have a bad anime, I think. And the general thought process around the series, and if the anime is bad, is just not going to be good. It's just not going to be good. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. I want to be proud of any anime that comes up, and ideally I would be involved, because I've seen so many times about how a studio absolutely messes up an IP by not adapting a project properly, because they don't have the original creatives involved. Hollywood. Oh God. Anyway, that's my plan. 3-step plan. But in order for me to accomplish that first step, I'm still on step 1, which is arguably the hardest step, which is to make an awesome series. Most people try to create bangers, amazing stories, and they fail. Most people. I think I have what it takes, but I'll keep you guys updated on my progress. I think I can do it before I turn 30. That's my hope. And of course, if you guys are subscribed, you'll see that entire process on my YouTube channel. Anyway, that's my 3-step plan on how I'm going to get an anime before I turn 30. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully you learned a little bit about the process of getting an anime and from my plan, just like about the general industry. And make sure to like the video for the YouTube algorithm because it helps a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys in next week's video. Hopefully this was somewhat knowledgeable. Thank you guys. Bye.